everybody, and welcome back to the NLC. We're getting ready to go into our third game of the day. I just want more. I just want more League of Legends. It's been so long, but this is going to be Domino versus Verdant coming into this game. Aragon, you were saying to me in the break, you don't think this is going to be as much of a stomp as in our previous two games. Why do you think this game's going to be tighter?
So I definitely think this game has the potential to cause the most upsets in terms of predictions. Everyone has Verdant down, definitely. I think the only color caster who doesn't is Rude Dude, who's voted Domino. So if Domino do win, he's winning out. But for sure, their rosters, they do have some shining lights on the side of Domino. So they have Flumpbun, I believe is the name pronunciation, formerly known as Flaxish, who I know because I played against him personally in solo queue and in comp, probably scrims or something. He was extremely mechanically proficient, and it's definitely a top laner you want to look out for because he can carry games on his own. Definitely a mechanical carry top laner style. So let's see if they, potentially play around that. On top of that, Snabby and Shaolin on the side of Domino, they have played together back in 2021. So they have that potentially synergy diff, which is extremely important at the start of splits. Whereas Verdant, you have a lot more, kind of superstars where you have like Taxa, who's incredibly good in the jungle and just a historical name. You also have Kevu, who I think is one of the best AD carries in the league. Kevu is incredible, incredibly consistent, really good, likes mages, likes everything. Really, really solid. But still, not as expected of a stomp as the previous games. Potential for upset and a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one game like we saw a minute ago in the predictions that Rude Dude had actually said he went Domino. I think the rest of us all went Verdant, and he was the only one who went Domino. So I'm excited to see, how this is going. First of all, is Rude Dude just going to pull ahead of the rest of us off for this one game, or is this going to be a little bit more, in the sense of we all leaned one way versus the other? I think the experience of the Verdant roster is what's kind of left the rest of us to go. Yeah, we are leaning towards this team. I mean, Taxa has been on this region and variations of this region for a very, very long time. He is a incredibly storied player within the NLC and the UK scene back in the day. I believe he even played during the Nordic League as well when it was it just called the Nordic League? I can't actually remember the old school name for it was, but he's been around this region for a long time. I believe he went over and played in Superliga for a bit as well. So the ERLs is very much, or they're not the ERLs anymore. The MEA, whatever they're called now. He's very storied in this scene and has been around for a very, very long time and is a very respected jungler. So I'm excited to see this. I will talk a little bit about the top lane matchup because, Aragon, I know that's your area of expertise. You said it, quoting you here, we got a lot of psycho top laners. We got Nilly here. Yeah. Nilly is, what are your expectations of this top lane matchup?
So, I'm talking from experience, might be completely wrong. Maybe it's a playstyle thing. Maybe I counted Nilly personally. But every time I played versus Nilly, he didn't seem like the best laner in the world. He might have extremely good comms, team play and stuff like this. But Nilly, to me, didn't feel like that superstar carry, right? But Flaxish, on the hand, was. So maybe it's a clash of, weak side top versus strong side top type deal. I played against Nilly's Gragas, that's a classic weak side pick. So we'll have to see, maybe that's relevant there, maybe that's the key matchup. I just wanted to bring it over to something before we get into Champ Select and Draft. I reached out, for anyone who's new here, I reached out to a lot of the teams to see what their expectations of the split were, right? So I actually reached out this time to someone who may not have had a voice in their assistant coach, Coach ATN. And he said, for his expectations of the split, professionally as a coach, I just want the players to have fun and improve together. Results can come and go in best of ones, but we want to apply that learning and try to win all our games. I think this is generally our stance. So really wholesome, We had previous top lawyers saying they want to... Yeah.
It's like he got his lawyer to write the statement, man. I don't know. Exactly. I'm here for the smack talk in these things. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the players be like, "No, we're going to stomp them." Anyway, we are in to pick some bans for game number 3. We've had the Zeri, the Maokai banned away by Domino. On the other side, Ryze has come out from Verdant as their ban. We're seeing a lot of Ryze. He is getting nerfed soon, though, so... hopefully, we start to see less and less of that Ryze showing up. And there goes the Heimerdinger as the second ban from the side of Verdant. So, see what Domino are going to look for here. They could go for a target ban. You normally do have room for one target ban on blue side. Or they could just look to take away a little bit more of the meta. We've seen so much Vi today. Maybe, for the sake of their AD carry, they just ban the Vi.
Yeah, so you're thinking about, standard picks and bans. What's up still? What power picks are up? Lucian Nami come to mind. Yumi comes to mind, although Zeri's taken away, so that's a bit of power. Sejuani comes to mind. Jax just got banned away. Maokai's banned as well, so I would expect Lucian Nami, potentially Nami to get taken away first rotation, and then answered with something like a Sejuani. But it's hard to tell. It depends on what this last ban will be, so we'll have to wait and see.
See what this final ban's going to be. They're running the timer down quite
Taking
a lot,
their time.
thinking about it. With Nami
There it is.
taking away that Lucian capability there. So no Zeri, no Lucian, Nami coming out. You could still pick that Lulu and that Yumi, but the power isn't entirely locked just in the Zeri, but that's where a lot of the core power of the Yumi is right now. We'll see what they're going to look to pick up here as their first pick. Obviously, like I said, the Vi is open if they just want to blind pick a jungler. Kind of pick
Varus as well.
That down, but
Varus,
like you said, is just going to be the pickup here. The question is are they going to go for that on-hit Varus like we saw Crispo play, or are we going to see that lethality Varus that we saw in the last game, which unfortunately kind of just got slammed? It wasn't really the most useful pick, especially when, bot lane was a bit of a dumpster fire from the set-off, and Nilly actually going to be locking in the Fiora here as their first pick.
Maybe he heard me calling him a weak side top laner or something and decided, you know what, I'm going to lock in Fiora just like Banderas. I told you, man, we've got multiple psychopath top laners. Fiora blind picks twice in one day is pretty unheard of. But yeah, you've got the double melee combo with Sejuani plus Fiora. Potentially, we're going to see a Silas come out, get that melee synergy with the Sejuani for Errol. But we'll have to see what they answer with now. Maybe you pick your top laner for the side of Domino to counter. You've got your standard answers, stuff like Jace. I think Jace is incredibly good. Stonewall answer. What else is there off the top of my head? Renekton is also really good. So usually it's either range, maybe Kennen and stuff like this too. But there it is. There's the Jace.
Yeah, just as a quick note for anybody who is joining us now, Flumpum is actually Flaxish. He's had a name change, so this is his new name, which is infinitely harder for me to say, and I'm probably saying it wrong.
Me too.
Apologies, the man formerly known as Flaxish. But they are just going to pick him up, the Jace, like you were expecting into the Fiora. We did have Nara at the beginning of the day. I don't know if Jace was banned in that game. I don't think it was, but they're going for this Jace. I personally quite like the Jace here. I think obviously the big problem with the Gnar is you're very reliant on the Gnar bar to set up for team fights, when the Jace can just play at range and kind of poke out. And speaking of poke, looking in the Syndra as well here, so fairly heavily kind of poke heavy team here with the ability with the Syndra to buy space with that scatter the weak. So let's see what the answer is going to be from the side of Verdant, as they are maybe looking towards just a more typical mid lane in their own state as well here, as they're hovering the Azir, running the timer down, and will be locking that in. So over to Verdant to start banning.
I think Verdant need to ban Vi here. That Vi Syndra combo, I've tried to tell everyone to please not give that over because it's too disgusting. Vi, I think, is really, really good here onto that, not immobile carry, but, that standing Azir carry. I just want to touch on that Jace pick. The reason he's so good right now, if people missed it, is he got some really hefty base AD buffs, like 4 or something base AD, which makes him a lot better. I think he's actually flexible to mid, which is something we saw in LEC as well. But yeah, that's the reasoning why Jace has been picked up more around the world. It does look like they're going to pick up the ban the Wukong as well. This is another extremely good pairing with Syndra, a really high win rate with these two pairs globally, Vi Syndra and Wukong Syndra. Basically, Syndra just needs guaranteed setup at 6. Wukong and Vi provide that. Now, potentially, you answer with 80 carry bans. You pinch the 80 carry pool. You think maybe to survive the Varus, you ban away the safe picks like the Ezreal. But we'll have to see what they ban now. Potentially another pick like Vi for the side of Verdant for a ban, but who knows?
Who knows? Let's see what they're going to be looking to pick up here as their final ban from the side. And it is actually going to be the Ashe, so the Vi is up and available. And they've already got their jungler locked in with the Sejuani, unless they flex that. Well, I mean, they can't really because they've got Fiora. So, I mean, that does leave this Vi open as just a pick here for flowing. And like you're saying, it is a really potent combo. And I mean, when you've got the Scatter of the Weak, you've got the Chains, you've got the Vial, there's already potential for Domino to have a lot of engage and a lot of kind of pick potential within this team. Obviously, that's if they do pick up this Vi. There is still, other junglers available. I mean, the Wukong has been banned out, but so is the Maokai. So actually, Vi, realistically, out of the kind of top 4, is the only one left open, with Sejuani already taken.
Yeah.
So
Tier below, you have stuff like Viego. Tier below, you have stuff like Viego, Graves, Elise, but It does look like it's just going to be a Seraphine locket. And this is honestly a Kevo special, no? He does love his mages. I've seen him play stuff like this before, so I wouldn't be surprised if this just goes bot lane. It probably is going to go bot lane, and we'll have to see what Domino answers with. And this is what I'm talking about. The off-meta stuff, when teams aren't exactly perfect at this level, and they can't play everything, but I guess they're going to match it with roaming, right? They're going to take probably the best roamer in the game, or one of in Leona or Rakan, and then just
I mean,
abandon
that is
lane.
a lot
They're
of
just going to
crowd
say, you know
control.
what, we're leaving. Yeah.
Do you know what? Rude Dude might have been onto something. I am loving this team. There is so much CC here. If we actually just go into like ease of execution, which is a term that was thrown around quite a lot a few years ago, but this team already has a lot of clear conditions in how it can set up for fights. And if they're not ready for them, they can just back off. The Viego, sure, it doesn't give that kind of like guaranteed pick potential that the Vi has, but when you're playing a kind of these extended fights, which this team is going to be looking to do, the ability to steal forms, heal up in the middle of the fight, get that invulnerability frames as well, and then jump back into the fight. I think this is a really, really solid team for Domino here. I'm curious what the answer is going to be, because I do think Verdant, they don't look weak either. I mean, the power of the Seraphine, they've got a lot of CC in response here as well. I actually think these team fights are going to be very explosive and quite long-winded, just the amount of crowd control coming down. Aragon, I'm going to throw this to you. What are the win conditions? What are we expecting from this game?
A very clear poke win condition for Domino. Just get out to objectives and poke people down with Varus and Jace, right? Whereas you've got more of that wombo combo for the side of Verdant. Naturally, Seraphine's going to be paired off with a melee support who could CC to synergize with a passive, right? So you have a lot of CC. If you miss that engage, though, you don't really have much. You also have that, you have disengage as well to potentially play that split push win condition with Nilly. But Jace can match a Fiora just pretty well. On the flip side, though, you have Viego into Sejuani, which in and of itself is an incredibly good matchup. Viego just takes off Sejuani's head in a 1v1. Like, the pure 1v1, it's not close. So, I think, if I'm looking at it right, I agree with you. Ease of execution is much easier for Domino. You just press R, right? You just press R, guarantee a Viego reset. You can play for poke as well, play for outrange. I would go for Domino's draft. I think they have very good counters into the Azir pick, specifically, because Azir hates being outranged, right? So, yeah, that's the win condition. Outrange and poke.
Yeah, outrange and then set up for the picks easy, because, you know, they've got that. It's safe, non-committal engage. Like a Leona Solar Flare, it's not like you have to jump in. You can Solar Flare, then jump in on that Leona. The Chains of Corruption, again, a lot of range, a lot of kind of range follow-up that can come in as well. So you poke, and then you have that non-committal engage. If it lands, and you can then find the kills. If it doesn't land, then you just back off and wait for those cooldowns, because Solar Flare, after like level 11, on a relatively short cooldown as well. So it's something you can almost throw out willy-nilly. And, you know, if you hit it, you hit it. If you don't hit it, you just wait, you know, the 40 seconds until it comes back up. And then I think it's a bit more than 40, but you know, you wait that very little amount of time, and then you have it back up for the next fight, and it'll be always guaranteed to be up and available to them. So I genuinely think Rude Dude might be taking the lead here, and we're starting out with some action already as the beat drop has gone down. Verdant finding himself in danger as Nilly's going to jump in. Flumpbon has found himself taking a little bit of damage here as Clack gets a whole bunch of damage onto him. Another beat drop comes out, and Verdant have to limp away from this action.
And ultimately, who loses out here? Well, Verdant have actually lost a Flash. That early game skirmish potential with the Sejuani plus potentially Fiora or bot lane with that Nautilus combo, it loses a lot more potency because she doesn't have that Flash anymore for those early ganks, right? So eyes on Taxo, what can he do without that Flash? He still has Phase Rush for that mobility, but it's going to be a lot harder to make that proactive play early. On the flip side, you could argue that he doesn't really want to be that proactive because they have a lot of scaling. A lot of them come on the line at level 6 with that Seraphine ultimate, Nautilus ult, and Sejuani ulti. But still, really important.
Do you know who was the real winners here? Errol and Shaolin with their first strikes. They got a whole 7 gold extra.
True.
They're rolling in it now.
Don't forget Mana Flow ban procs. They're already stacking.
Oh, and Mana Flow, yeah. These guys rolling.
I wish we could hover over. I wish we could hover over Fiora, see if she's got a grass proc as well. There's all these procs. Fun fact: a grass proc is worth 13 gold. So
I actually
don't
think Nilly did. I actually don't think Nilly did get it because he jumped into the fight late. He got a Q off, and then I don't think he got the grass, but he did get one there. So there you go. Got himself a little bit of something for himself as a Larry. Is it Larry? Larry? What are we calling him? We got to decide. Larry.
It's gonna be a while. until we know the names off by heart and how to pronounce them. But Larry, I'm going to go with for now. It does look like they're going to get push it in bot lane and potentially a mid. But surprisingly, Fiora actually gets the push topside. Despite that range advantage, I was of the assumption with the early game buffs to Jace that he might be able to get the pressure early. Doesn't look like it, and Nilly's actually going to win out on that priority. I don't think it matters too much unless we get a skirmish around that crab. Because mid lane prior is pretty neutral, and both will probably be able to move. But we'll have to see. It does look bot lane's going to get prior, and nothing much is going to come of that. Maybe they get a cheater recall in off this third wave crash.
Oh, Larry dodging away. He's so confident to make sure that wave crashes. Gets himself a free reset off that as well. You know, Kevo and Clash, not... How am I saying his name?
It gets cancelled. Clash?
It does get cancelled.
Clash?
Cly. Yeah, it's Cly, that's it, I think.
Cly.
It's been a while since I've casted some of these players, so my brain doesn't fully work on what their names are. But yeah, Cly.
This is definitely the hardest
team. You get a good scatter. Oh, there's so many hard words to pronounce in this league now.
This is definitely the hardest team to pronounce, so don't feel bad. It's for sure one we'll get over time. But Leona support roaming. Level 3, looking for this potential roam onto the Fiora, but it does get spotted out by a ward.
Yeah, Nilly not going to be in any danger here. Looks to go for the reset, unless Nilly maybe feeling confident. It doesn't look like Snabby is going to hang around. Oh, he is, actually. If they can get this off, this could be really dangerous.
I think he gets away. He's got parry, just parries the stun. He gets away, I think.
No, he has to parry this. Should be. Oh no, he's stunned again. Oh, he gets the riposte off. Nilly holding that riposte until the key moment as Shaolin has to flash away. Errol out of mana now jumping on. And it looks like Shaolin should just be able to get away as Cly not able to get enough damage in. And all this time, Larry able just to get himself, you know, just free farm and hold the wave where he wants it.
Yeah. Solo XP and free farm, he's chilling. Like, honestly, all the pressure applied to different lanes, nothing much is really happening, right? No summoners are getting blown, realistically. Leona tries to roam top, nothing really happens because it's a Fiora with riposte, right? So, generally, this kind of favors Domino a little bit, right? It favors both, honestly. Both teams have extremely high, like, scaling. Syndra nowadays is more of a scaling champion. They probably spike most in mid-game. Jace has that 3-item win condition, which is really famous. Muramana, gosh, what's the item called? Cyrilda's an Eclipse, right? You get to 3 items and suddenly you're just one-shotting everyone. So at the end of the day, it's not really favorable to anyone. However, if you go the later you go, Azir and Fiora just become menaces, right? With enchanters as well.
Oh, that ward.
Does get seen.
That's a sad ward for Flowing, unfortunately. Not going to be able to get seen, but, you know, he's only here really to make sure that this wave does push in.
Does it get cancelled?
They do get this nice reset. No way.
No,
it's not happening. Oh, this could be rotten. I think they cancelled it. They did cancel that reset.
It did get cancelled.
They're not going to stay. Okay, they are actually... He is going to reset. Well, this could be not great here. If this gets cancelled, he's in trouble. Okay, Larry now losing that. He's going to have to stay for another wave now at this point and shove this one in.
Yeah.
And they don't have their jungler to help them on the shove and guarantee that this does collapse, though. Actually,
Larry doesn't
Domino.
Like this.
No, he's wanted to reset for a while and hasn't been able to quite get it.
Larry really doesn't like this. He still has just his longsword. He hasn't been able to recall. And he's versus Tyr, essentially infinite mana, right? So, does he really want to be here? No, he wants to spend his gold. He wants to buy his Dirk or a Tyr, you know, and get back to lane, start stacking that up, and be strong for his level 6. But these delays on the recalls means he's going to hit level 6 without spent gold, which is actually problematic. Maybe there's a player going to have the top side, but I doubt it. Potentially a dive.
Looks like Taxa actually may look to jump in. Frontmonk's already lost a lot of HP, and he is caught out immediately. The Grand Challenge is on, and he is looking for the damage.
Oh.
Taxa tanking that perfectly to make sure that is going to be the pickup they need. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Larry and Snabby get a whole bunch of damage off on to Cly. Is Cly able to move away? And Larry's just been wanting to get this base for quite a while, but maybe just greedy positioning is... Oh, no, he's in danger. A beat drop actually connects. They jump in. They find themselves the kill with the hook. Now Flowing, looking for Kevo. Will try and catch him, but can't quite make it. With the jump forward there on the E. Unable to find the connection. And that is a kill for nothing in favor of Verdant.
And honestly, Verdant rather, their top jungle duo synergy, showing why they're first picking that Fiora, managing to find the dive onto Flumpfun. The second Nilly hits 6, they say, you know what, let's go. And they dive him, commit the flashes, commit everything to it, and they just run him down and secure the kill. And this is really impactful because this delays Jace's curve, where he's actually stronger than Fiora in that mid game, where, you know, up until about level 13, once again, he's actually outranging and has potential to kill. But look at these supports roaming up topside. We definitely have 2 support roamers here.
Yeah, looks like Snappy's waiting for the opportunity to jump in. Gets himself the movement to get away for the moment. Kai in danger, but he is able to move underneath that tower. The wave's too big. Nilly really didn't want to commit for that fight.
Yeah.
He wanted to catch that wave and keep the CS in his favor. Is just going to be able to do so. Meanwhile, Shaolin and Errol doing what we expected from a Syndra Azir lane, just kind of catching waves and shoving in as much as possible. It does look like Shaolin needs to be careful, though. Errol jumps in forward. They do get the knockback. They've got the flash if they want to insect Shaolin away. He gets a scatter onto all 3, but he's running away from his team. He's flashless. It's going to be a couple of seconds. He's clipped. He's caught. And Errol will find the kill. On to the Syndra. Down goes Shaolin.
And all off of the back of Clyde's hooks. He's everywhere. This guy is a menace. He's making top roams. He's making mid roams. This game is all over the map, and there's no one clear lane where people are punishing. They're just running around as a pack, making sure to snowball. And in this replay, you can see that max range hook onto Shaolin. You think maybe he survives because he lands his 3-man Scatter the Weak, but then Taxa gets his ult up again, and he just throws it, and you can see all this CC that's coming down in the Nautilus and the Sejuani, which means you're just going nowhere and you're just going to die.
Really, really rotten there as Verdant are going to turn their attention towards that Rift Herald. Larry on the bottom side of the map is going to be able to pick up 2 plates for himself. So while it took him a while to get this base off, now that he's finally got it, comes in with the Noon Quiver and the Vampiric Scepter. So now at that point where it is going to be once again the on-hit Varus and not the poke Varus. So giving them a little bit more teamfight presence. We talked about the CC availability there. They do get the charm down, but it ain't going to mean diddly squat, as Kevo is popped and the kills gifted to Larry.
So they cross-map bot dive the Rift Herald play for the side of Verdant. They don't let them just get the Herald for free. They decide, you know what, we're going to do something on the side of the map, and we're going to dive bot lane. And this top lane, you can see once Jace gets some points in Q, our damage really starts to add up. Jace is one of the only abilities in the game where his Q actually more than doubles in damage every time he puts a point in it at level from rank 1 to rank 2. It gets really nutty. And the more points you get, the more scary it becomes. It's definitely more of a scaling champ these days. And you could just see it. He might have to force Nilly to recall here under tower.
Yeah, actually, especially when Flowing's moving his way up as well. Oh, Nilly gets another empowered shot blast there through the acceleration gate. And Flumpman doing a really good job of just keeping pressure up. If Nilly eats another Q, he's in danger. Not going to be the case. And Flowing going to be able to get himself an extra plate here. Doesn't have TP. He might get 2 plates here, actually. Is just going to settle for the 175 gold in his pocket. Just going to take that reset, get that farm lead in his favor, and look to kind of keep the pressure up on Nilly, who is closing in now on his Divine Thunderer. Has got a lot of components here with the Caulfield's Warhammer, the Kindle Gem, the Sheen. Obviously got boots as well, so it's going to be a little bit easier on trying to dodge on those Qs. But the Eclipse also closing in here for Flumpman on the...
So let's do a stop check.
On the Jace.
Let's do a stop check. What are the win conditions here, right? Because it's been quite a slow game. Like, as much as there has been action, nothing really has happened, which is weird. We do see a Rift Herald for the side of Sejuani. I think it's incredibly important that they use this to crack mid lane tower, because then you have a control mage who doesn't really want to go into the side lane in Syndra, you know? But potentially what they do is they push and move onto that Jace and dive with that Herald, right? That's definitely a play they can make. Errol is actually moving up there, and after having pushed mid, and this does look a bit juicy.
They need to pull that teleport immediately. They've already got multiple people coming up. They've got the teleport coming in. He's down before he can do anything. It was so quick. Flumpman is able to clear out the wave at least to make sure that this doesn't get too dicey for them. But that was not the play they wanted to happen. They want him to survive a little bit longer. Just the CC, way too hard for him. As Larry able to shove in this mid lane, in this bot lane, sorry. May just take a plate actually, because nobody has rotated over to this side of the map. And the Rift Herald's still in the pocket of Taxa. So waiting it out a little bit longer than maybe we expected coming into it.
And I think this does highlight like the difficulty. Whilst Domino's comp is easier to pilot overall, this does highlight the difficulty of playing Jace in a competitive setting, right? It's incredibly easy to just land one bit of CC and the Jace is blown up. doesn't hit the new threshold for
solar
killing
flare.
towers.
Oh, that was beautiful. They get the scatter. They get the heartbreaker, the follow-up. Errol uses the stopwatch. Shaolin has the unleashed power, and that's a dead pigeon. Down he goes. Shaolin able to find a kill in the mid.
Oh, incredible stuff. This is really, really good. Honestly, if you swap these name tags around, I would be surprised, right? I wouldn't be surprised. They're playing extremely well. Domino might actually come off with a win here. They're playing to their win conditions. The level 6 Syndrome managed to find a pick with that Scatter the Weak into these Viego resets, and it's going really damn well. Super impressed by the side of Domino. It's definitely not as close as the other games. Not as much of a stomp as the other games.
No, we wanted to see a kind of more tight and more competitive game, and we're definitely getting that in game number 3. 13 minutes in, the gold lead, 1,000 barely there for the side of Verdant, so nothing significant, nothing to write home with, and most of that just came from the power play of that Rift Herald, popping the plates in the mid. It's almost down, which could be a little bit scary, as Flumpman has been jumped on by Nilly, going to quickly swap out so he can bot back. Nilly waiting out with a riposte a little bit too late, so now Flumpman can turn this around, missing the shot blast, but still able to fire back beautifully onto Nilly, and now they're back at that range deficit. Nilly has to be careful. Frontman can do so much damage here now that he's got the Eclipse finished up. Looks like the attention from the side of Verdant is shifted from that top side as they rotate 3 members down towards the boss end of the map.
And Dragon spawning in 1 minute. All the flashes up for the side of Verdant, except for Azir's, potentially. The same for the side of Domino, so we see a contest here. You know, only 15 seconds left until Dragon, but it doesn't look like it. Bot lane staying bot lane. Viego looks like he's just scared to even enter the jungle. Does look like it's going to go over to the side of Verdant for free.
Yeah, Dragon number 1 for them. Second Dragon of the game. Going to see what kind of map we're getting after this. It's not going to be a Chemtech, actually, because the last 2 Dragons have been Chemtech souls. So,
yes,
we'll be changing that up into a different Dragon type, which would be nice. See what we're going to get.
What are you betting? Infernal?
Mountain.
Mountain.
No, mate, it's a mountain.
Unlucky.
The worst thing is like, I made that as it came up. You saw the mountain and went, yeah, Infernal. It's going to be an Infernal map. Unlucky. Unlucky, mate. Sometimes we don't see what's in front of us. As Shaolin does see, but potentially he's going to be getting ganked, so does back off and just clear out this wave. And do you want to take a quick inventory check to see where we are? As the Eclipse has been finished up. We talked about that on Flumpman, so he's doing a lot of damage, but Blade the Ruined King also finished up, and the CC chain, too much flowing, is down. Beautiful grab, beautiful pick, but there is an answer out here by Domino on the other side. Taxa does catch himself on, and now he should be able to find 2 kills. Larry gets himself the shield from the shield bow, but he is locked in place. He's getting so much damage on, but it's a double kill for Taxa as he takes out both of the bot lane combined. Really, really rough here as Clyde has found Flumpman underneath, well, in between tier 1 and tier 2 towers, but isn't going to be able to find the kill to finish this one up.
And we see the replays here. Taxa managed to find this snipe. Larry doesn't block it, and it turns into a double kill. Can I say how good this jungle support duo is? They're roaming the map and finding kills all the time. They're incredibly proactive, and they're on point with these picks. You know, Clay is in this death bush, finds a pick onto Viego, and turns around a counter gank. And then Taxa is on the other side, even cross-mapping that. Right? These two are definitely MVP, and honestly, I'm not sure who I'm going to pick. If the game ended now, I wouldn't be able to pick between the two. They're both playing incredibly well.
Yeah, no, they really are. It's been a very, very good game on them on that front, as are seeing a lot of action and kind of gathering of people towards the mid lane. As you can see, the Rift Herald is up. Still got a bit of time until that dragon spawns, so Domino wanting to get their hands onto it, and they are going to start it up immediately. Schnabby got himself that ultimate available to him. Solar Flare on. He doesn't get spotted by the Squires, and the Hex Flash over the walls coming in. Snabby's on the flank, catches ult. No, he doesn't. Misses the Zenith Blade, gets the stun onto Nilly, and now he has to try and get away from him. Is just going to flash over the wall. Looks to try and grab onto this. The Solar Flare's onto them. They get all of the CC. Snabby's low. Nilly now looking for Larry. Flumpman jumps in and finishes up the kill. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Errol's going low. So's Flowing. Scatter to break away Taxa from Flowing. And they trade out a 1-for-2. But the Rift Herald does go over there as well to Domino. So overall, they're going to be sitting very, very happy with that one.
And crucially, they find that Viego reset, which is the entire thing. Shaolin manages to find the massive Scatter of the Weak into the burst, and Viego manages to flash. Granted, this was a huge flashless fight. Nobody had flash except for the Viego, and he managed to use it to find that reset. And Taxa might find a pick here. There's a TP behind.
Oh no, they're in danger. There's the chilling smite as well, flowing. He's going to try and not get away. He cancelled his W, so now he's in danger.
Oh.
Going to jump onto Kevo. Kevo gets the shield off. The encore to make sure that there is no way he goes down. That was still pretty close there for the side of Kevo.
Oh.
And I did just note, I don't think anybody picked up the Herald. No one's got it in their inventory. So even though Domino got it, I don't think it was picked up. I think they waited it out. And now Shaolin, wanting to hold that unleashed power, is going to be able to find himself the kill there onto Clay, taking him down. As we'll have a look at this fight in the top side is Flowing. He just cancelled his W. He didn't use it.
And exactly,
really
just when we think Domino is like making great plays, winning a team fight, they throw it all away by overstaying. It's really unfortunate. You could see the beginnings of a really good team. The execution on the micro is there, but then the overstay is completely, it kills their entire team. Shaolin dies, Flumpbun dies. That name is so difficult to say. And then again, it's a bloodbath because Cly dies on the other side in mid lane. So this game, once again, is really close. Complete bloodbath.
Yeah, it's been a very, very good game, actually. Not as stompy as the previous games, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's any less of a game. Very, very tight.
Oh,
so far.
Fail.
As that was a little unlucky there, Taxa, but Kevo still will be able to get himself his blue buff. But as I assume the attention now is going to be down towards this bottom side because 26 seconds or 22 seconds now, and we're going to have ourselves the dragon spawning up. So that's where I'm expecting to see all of the attention shift towards here. No mid lane tower for the side of Domino, so they are pushing in at a weaker advantage where they have to catch their ways a little bit more shallow than where Verdant can catch theirs.
And crucially, Verdant are already onto the objective, right? And Domino are probably going to have to come in from one direction where they have to run into something like a Seraphine ulti. Take a look at topside. He's actually ran down already because he has prior. Nilly is 5-1. He's ran down to Dragon to secure it, and Domino just have to give it up. This game is all about dragons right now. And the fact that Nilly is so fed, he can just run down and secure it, and that's 2 out of 4 for the Dragon Soul objective.
Absolutely. To be able to grab that. And it's not just that as well. We also think about if it's the objectives more than just the these kind of neutrals have been so important. It's not just the dragons. There was that big fight at the walls. The Rift Herald as Flumpbun is going to get himself caught in danger here. The Ghost has been used, but with the fact that the Viego's in the area, Flumpbun is able to get away to safety. Obviously got the Eclipse, so a bit of sustain built into him there. If they catch the Scat of the Week onto Nilly, he's in a bit of danger. Solar Flare comes down, followed by the Unleashed Power. Beautiful block, but the Heartbreaker from Flowing means he is caught and dead.
Crucially, he doesn't manage to parry the Solar Flare, but instead gets hit by the Enchained, by the Viego ultimate and everything else. Really unfortunate stuff. Nilly almost makes the escape of a lifetime, but doesn't. I don't think he expects this many people topside. However, really good play from Domino. They found the cross-map play after they lose the dragon. They say, you know what, we're not just losing this objective, we're also taking something on the other side of the map.
He was flattened in that play. That was brutal.
Yeah.
Now, Larry is 2 items in on the attack speed Varus. Typically, a champion like this, he'll start to spike around the next item. He's going to be doing pretty good damage as it is, but you watch, he'll do significantly more. I assume it'll be a Blade of the Ruined King, considering the front line he has to get through. So that's probably where we'll see him really spike. He might go Hurricane, but I'm assuming probably
Wits End as well.
We'll
it's
see.
an option we see.
Wits End as well. Oh, of course, Wits End. No, it'll be Wits End. You are right.
Yes.
I totally forgot that item even existed there. Yeah. So most likely be a Wits End, as I was saying, getting picked up here for Larry. Once we get off the gold, we will see. But he has got himself a gold lead over his lane counterpart in Kevo here.
There it is.
And yet with the half-filled
Half-bound?
I can't remember what it's called.
Half-bound
axe. Half-bound axe is definitely given away, but there's going to be a Wits End and the Null Magic Mantle, I guess.
Yeah.
But Flowing actually, on the Viego, pretty good as like an anti-tank unit. He's got the blade. He's obviously got health percent built into the kit.
That's exactly
as well,
what I was going to say.
Going to be very good into Taxa.
Yeah. And he's just going to chop Taxa's head off anytime they see each other, but they might start Baron here. Nope, they're just going to clear away the pink. Luckily, it was covered. But the reason why I'm saying it might start it is because they do have a lot of DPS from that Varus. With those Blight stacks, a Baron could get taken really, really, really quickly. Alongside that Blade of the Ruined King from the Viego, and Jace does a surprising amount of damage too, percentage health as well with that E. could get taken pretty damn quickly. But what we're going to see is Jace probably just sit bot lane, keep farming up. And honestly, this is a pretty standard Jace performance. The champion's so incredibly difficult that you see like the best Jaces in the world go 0-8 pretty frequently, but then have a good performance anyway in team fights later on. So you kind of just expect to die. It's kind of the Jace tax. But looks like you might find a fight mid lane.
They're posturing, but I don't know if they're going to find anything. As a flash comes out from Shaolin, Solar Flare only lands onto a couple of members, and it's the slow end, not the stun. But they are going to get the shot blast off. They jump in. This leaves a little bit messy, as Snabby didn't have his team. Flowing's already caught. It's going down. The scatter connects, and it was just a scattered fight on all fronts. Larry's forced to flash away, as Taxa will flash in and follow him up with the Arctic Assault, and Arrow secures the kill. I hope we get a replay of that, because that was... Oh! Shaolin! Beautiful scatter to get 1 kill, but I want to see the replay because Snabby just didn't turn off the aggression, and the rest of his team backed off. Shaolin and Larry walked away as Snabby went in.
So I was curious. Yeah, I was about to say, where's Jace's TP? He has TP up. He might be able to poke away, because they're down to 4 players now, right? And they have no damage. They just have the Azir. Might be able to poke them out. This is going to be really close.
Oh, this is going to be very close. He's trying to jump in. Flump on to Clyde there. Clyde goes down. Shaolin's able to get it. Low HP onto multiple members here, but it looks like it should just be Dunzo. Taxa gets scattered as he tries to Arctic Assault forward, securing the Baron for his team. But backups here. They might be able to strip the Baron off multiple members. As Snabby jumping in. Flowing also coming in. Solar Flare misses once again, but they do keep the CC chain alive as Taxa needs to get over the wall. There's a blast cone if he can get there, but he can't just about make it. Able to get away. That was a messy, messy series of plays there. Shaolin and Flintman did a good job of buying time, but man, Snabby messed up. Snabby messed up hard there.
I think that team fight lasted a solid minute and a half to 2 minutes into a Baron, and they desperately tried to steal it. You can see Shaolin. Syndra actually really known, quite infamous for stealing Barons because of all that W damage. But they managed to finish off the Syndra. Syndra doesn't steal it, and they tried to block Taxa from escaping, and that just doesn't work out too. Taxa manages to find the angle. Now, what are we going to do? I think what you have to do now as Domino is try and group up. Try and poke them out before this dragon spawns. In the hope that you poke them out. But then there's Seraphine shields. I'm not sure if you saw this hit brain, but they just had 500 HP shields constantly from that Seraphine. Non-stop through the entire fight. It's incredibly hard to poke through. Just say Kevo is doing a really good job here.
I think what they really need now for Domino is that, they want to get the grudge on to Flumpun so he can kind of slow them down and really shred through that armor. You want the Wit's End for one, survivability for Larry, but also just to kind of really spike that damage even higher. When you go Immortal Shield Bow, every item you complete is just more health. It makes him even tankier and even harder to pin. Problem they're going to have is Dragon's up and alive, and Domino don't have flash on Larry, which means he's very susceptible to getting ganked, and, well, getting jumped on in the middle of the fight by the likes of Tax and by the likes of Clay, and getting himself taken down. And Verdant, they're not interested in Dragon. It's not that impactful for them right now. They'd rather turn their attention towards this tower. Solar Flare, once again from Snabby, just totally misses his mark as Larry is untouched for the moment. But Arrow is looking to join in a double kill for Nilly. And he is making short work of multiple members. Larry now on his lonesome will be run down by Verdant. And a really, really superb bot lane fight there. Snabby, I don't know if it's nerves, I don't know if it's inexperience, but he is missing a criminal amount of these ultimates. I don't think I've seen him connect a Solar Flare all late game.
Oh, the shuffle.
It's not going to be enough for Flumpman. He is going down toast as Nilly able to cook him. Towers are crumbling. Nexus will be left bare. I don't think Domino have enough fuel in the tank, even with these death timers, to hold out in this game. A 26-minute victory there to Verdant.
And you just got to wonder, was that just mechanical? Nilly just seemed to pop off every single fight mechanically. He got so fed. He was 5-1 at one point. Earned it all by himself. And maybe he heard me. Maybe he heard me saying, you know what, I don't think this guy's very proficient mechanically. He's not exactly the carry top laner, but they put all the eggs in the Nilly basket. They put Kevo on the backseat, scaling Enchanter support to support Nilly back in those team fights. And he really popped off. So well done, Nilly, honestly. Really surprised me.
No, genuinely. I think I was very critical of those Solar Flares. Ultimately, that was a problem. You probably should be landing the key ability and then backing off if you miss it. That's what we talked about. But instead, they'd miss it and go, oh, well, we've committed an ult already. Let's just throw more in and see what sticks. And, you know, I think when you've got so much non-committal, don't commit so hard. Don't go too greedy. And I think, you know, they were leaving their AD carry alone to just get taken down. So Larry on that Varus was finding himself constantly being chased down by Nilly on the Fiora or by Clay with the ultimate on the Nautilus. And you know, if your AD carry is just getting absolutely destroyed on the back end and you're barely scratching them on the front end, it's always going to be hard to find those openings and find those opportunities. Definitely a closer game than our previous ones, but somehow quicker as well at the same time, which is really weird. It was a very close game, but you know, it wasn't a slow game by any means. It was still a very fast game. So I mean, let's go into it. Let's talk about MVP. Aragon, who was your MVP?
Oh, that's really difficult. I think Clay. I actually think he was just all over the map. I think, as you can probably tell by now, I'm biased towards people who have a lot of impact early, you know, set up their team for success. I main that kind of style as well, you know, in top lane, playing tanks and, you know, facilitate the champions. I think it's really impressive when Nautilus is just in the right place at the right time every single time. The problem is, I also think Taxa was really good, right? Taxa was also doing that exact same thing, right? So it's really close between them. I'm not too sure. I'll let you have it.
I was going to say Taxa as well, because I was like, you know, while Clyde was there, Taxa was always there with him. Taxa was always landing really crucial ultimates as well onto like the more important targets. So I'm going to give it to Taxa personally. But anyway, we actually have our team winners standing by from the side of Verdant. We got Tom Kick, someone I haven't seen since the NLC finals this summer. How you doing, Tom? You all right?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Awesome, mate. I mean, opening on a win, got to be feeling pretty good on that one. Let's talk about, you know, obviously you're back, but not in game. You're kind of backstage staff. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on, like, you know, how this team kind of came together, how long you've had to put the team together, and you know how the off-season process was for you this season.
Yeah, so it's been kind of fun. We started pretty early, I would say, in December. We've had a lot of trials. We tested out a lot of different persons. And at one point, it just kind of clicked when we had these 5 boys actually in the same scrim. And we got like messages back and forth. Some of the players like, we're staying with this guy, like we're signing this guy. And everybody was really hyped. So I feel like from the start, we had a pretty good bond of people really enjoyed playing together. And everybody was really hyped to like want to be improving. So we got to start with scrims pretty early. We have been practicing for a while. And also I get a good media trip with the boys now recently. So we've been having a lot of fun, and I think we're connecting pretty well together.
I wanted to ask about that media trip. How was it? Because you're one of the few teams who actually went away to the UK and you met up everyone. How were the lads? How was everything?
I was really fun. Like? The vibes were great. We were having a lot of fun. We were a lot of what it's called, Weatherspoon every day, having a lot of fun.
Weatherspoons.
Good time.
Why spoons?
Oh. Why spoons? We just fell in love with the spoons. I don't know. The spoons.
How?
It's
microwaved. It's awful. It's such a terrible pub.
It's the vibes, okay? It's the vibes. That was the...
What vibes? Sticky carpet and bad microwave food? What vibe is there at spoons?
You know, we're all Nordic, you know, so we needed some fresh, you know, new vibes. Like in general, we're known for like perfection, you know, Norwegian, Swedish, Denmark, Finland. We needed some UK trash, and it was just beautiful. It was really nice.
I'll hard agree with you on that. Spoons is UK trash. It is. You just needed to go from perfection to the most grotty place in the UK you could go. Oh man. Okay, before I rip on your terrible choice of pubs and places to go dine and drink. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, the season in whole, Tom. I want to know, you know, what teams are you looking at as kind of like the top teams of the league?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like the clear top 3 teams we have, I would say, is like Ruddy, Riddle, and Nord. Those are like the interesting ones to beat. Now, at the moment, I feel like then the other 3 bottom are, or like 4. I feel like Vanir is like a clear middle. I think it's interesting. I like their match against Riddle. So maybe I have maybe too high expectations for Riddle, but I'm not sure. Maybe things are not going as well at the start. But also the same with us, like we didn't have the cleanest game against Domino, but it's like 3 or 4 of us is kind of sick after the trip, so we're just trying to get back in form. But I feel like Nord probably looked the cleanest so far, so it's going to be interesting to meet them later on.
Well, Tom, I can tell you why you were sick after the trick. You ate spoons every day. That's what happened. That's what went on there. Anyway, Tom, thank you very much for joining us. And congratulations on the win. Hopefully next time you come to the UK, you actually eat somewhere good. And we'll see you later, all right?
See you later. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we actually have Pride standing by as our loser's side interview from Domino. Pride, hello. How are you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm doing fine, thank you.
So, I mean, that game was, you know, closer than our other 2 games. Obviously, it did slip away from you. What do you think was kind of like the key issue in this game? How do you think this game just kind of like fell away from you?
Key issue, I think we have a lot of new players that's new to the scene or high division and such a high stakes. So I think a lot of nerves maybe has something to do with it. And we've also had a bit of a bumpy start phase. So our goal is to just take those small steps to get to the top, I think, and reach our end goal, which is just to win, like keep on winning after that. When we first get that win, we're going to keep on winning, I think.
No, brilliant, really interesting. So I wanted to know, because I personally played against Flaxa. She's definitely the team, the person on the team that I played against the most, right, and have the most experience with. What kind of, considering he's like a veteran, what kind of voice does he bring? Is he really vocal? You know, what does he bring?
He brings a lot of confidence, I would say, because of all the experience he has.
Yeah.
Well, he's able to like teach certain situations. I can say that scrims hasn't gone like super well, but he comes and motivates the players. Like, well, when I was on this team, scrims went so bum. We lost every scrim, but then we dominated the scene or whatever. So he brings a lot of motivation, I would say. And yeah, I think also maybe players look up to him a little bit because he has that experience and veteran experience. I do. So yeah, just a lot of other viewpoints, I would say.
So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the meta. Aragon used the word stale earlier. I'm curious, you know, do you think this meta favors you? Do you think would you prefer a different meta? You know, what are your thoughts on the meta in general and like how it affects your team?
Well, this game looked very goon squaddy, which I would call it. People just group up and we play for top lane. There's this poke meta in the bot lane, which it kind of favors us a bit, or favors the way we want to play, I would say. But it's probably going to shift very soon, and the key is just to be able to adapt and adapt. So I think we're going to be able to do that as well. As said earlier, we're taking those small steps after a bumpy start, and that's the goal basically, and to train our rookies.
Awesome. Well, Pride, you know, unfortunate loss, but you guys honestly look really good. It was the most competitive game we've had today. So I'm really excited to see the growth across the next couple of weeks and see what Domino becomes over the season. So thank you very much for taking the time and speaking to us. And for you guys at home, we still have one more game to go. And oh God, it's Ruddy. We got Ruddy coming up after this for game number 4. We'll see you in a moment.